All right, and welcome to Wildcat Varsity Bowling. Today is our Baker Bash tournament. You may notice that right now we're seeing the girls on this channel. We do have a second stream up and running that's dedicated to the boys match. If you go to the YouTube channel, Wildcat Varsity Bowling, you should see both streams. You'll be able to flip back and forth between each one. Keep an eye on the action. For all scoring updates, you'll want to check this channel, the girls' channel. I'll have the scores every so often displayed up in the upper right corner. We do have commentating on the boys' channel. If you don't hear anything, please let me know through the chat. Today's format will be 10 Baker games, where it's a team of 5. Each will take turns bowling a frame. So first bowler frame 1, second bowler frame 2, and so on. And then first bowler will bowl frame 6 until they get to the 10th frame. After 10 Baker matches, or 10 Baker frames, we'll take total pins and cut to the top 4 teams on each side. Top 4 boys, top 4 girls. We'll reset the scores, bowl an additional 2 Baker matches, and then the top 2 scores will continue on to the championship round, where they'll bowl head-to-head, best 2 out of 3 Bakers. All right, we've got Abby Detmer up in the number 2 slot. I believe it was Heather that was the first bowler, had a 9 spare, Heather McMahon. Abby left 6 pins. The 1, 2, 4, 10, she picks up 3 of those. That'll bring up Napoleon's 3rd bowler, which is Ella Fox. Ella picks up 9, leaves the 10 pin. Just as a reminder, there is a second stream that is currently running for the boys match. You can switch back and forth between each stream. Ella picks up her spare. That brings up Jalen with a strike. Nice ball, Jalen. In the number 5 spot for Napoleon girls today is Spencer Schweiger. And Spencer with a strike. That's back-to-back strikes for Napoleon. On the girls' side, we have Anthony Wayne here today, Perrysburg, Liberty Center, Springfield, a second Liberty Center team or girls team from Liberty Center, and Wauseon. So if you're from one of the other schools, you may be able to see your bowlers off to the peripheral. Springfield is on, Anthony Wayne is on lane with a pair 3 and 4, along with Perrysburg. The Liberty Center A team is on lane 6. You can see them off to your left. Abby Detmer gets 9, leaves a 7 pin. Before her, we had Heather with a strike. Sharing the pair with Napoleon is Springfield. And then off to the other side, out of camera view, is the other Liberty Center girls team and Wauseon. And Abby does pick up her spare. Brings up Ella for frame number 8, Baker game 1. And she gets another 10 pin. Springfield with a strike over on lane 10. That was their 6th frame. Ella with a nice looking spare takes out the 10 pin. Brings up Jalen Rupel. Jalen hits a little bit heavy, leaves a 7-10 split. All right, I'm going to take just a minute and check the other stream, and then I'll be right back. And we are back, or at least I am. Spencer up, third ball, 10th frame. She has strike to start out. And then an 8 count, and she picks up the spare. And the Napoleon girls finish Baker number 1 with a 190. We will try to bring you scores every 2 games or so. As I get the scores, we'll bring them to you. I see Wauseon with a 161. I see Perrysburg with a 152. Looks like Anthony Wayne with a 78. Liberty Center A is 106. And we're waiting for, looks like Liberty Center's B squad to finish up. Currently waiting on the last ball in the 10th. And Liberty Center gets an 8. And they'll finish with a 135. That's Liberty Center's B squad. So Heather getting us started in the second Baker game. Gets a 9 count, leaves the 7 pin. And she picks it up. Abby with a 9 count, leaving the 10 pin. Abby prepares for her spare attempt. Picks it up. Good job, Abby. Liberty Center A squad with a strike over on lane number 5. Coming up for Napoleon next is Ella Fox. Napoleon's got 2 spares to start the second Baker game, 9 spare for each. And Ella will add a strike to that total. Again, just as a reminder, we've got 2 streams going, one for the girls and one for the boys. You'll have to, if you want to keep track of the boys, you can go to the other stream and flip back and forth. As I get scores for both girls and boys, I will put them up on the screen on this channel. Jalen Rupel, a little bit heavy, ends up leaving the 3-6. Jalen with her spare attempt. And she picks it up. Spencer Schweiger with a strike. Napoleon girls are cleaning through 5 frames in the second Baker match. Brings up Heather. Heather leaves the 10 pin, gets 9. Liberty Center A squad gets 9 pins, leaving a 7. Springfield gets a 9 count, leaves a 7 pin on lane number 9. Heather with her spare attempt picks it up. That'll bring up Abby for Napoleon girls. Abby with a strike. Nice ball. Springfield a little pulls it across. It's 6, leaving 1-3-6-10. Up for Napoleon is Ella. Ella with a strike. That's back-to-back strikes for Napoleon. Anthony Wayne just got a strike over on lane number 4. Jalen Rupel adds a strike. That's 3 strikes in a row for Napoleon now. Anthony Wayne with 7 over on lane number 4, leaving the 1-3-10, 1-3-10. Spencer Schweiger up for Napoleon. That's a strike for Spencer. Spencer up for second ball. 10th frame, second Baker game. And another strike for Spencer. And Anthony Wayne with a strike to start the 10th frame over on lane number 4. And a strike for Liberty Center's A squad on lane number 5. Spencer's final ball, second Baker game. And she gets a 9 count. And that'll be a 238 for the Napoleon girls' second Baker game. Liberty Center's A squad finishes with a 129. Looks like Anthony Wayne has finished with a 148. Perrysburg just starting the 10th frame. Springfield ends up with a 115 for the Baker game number 2. And Perrysburg ends up with a 109. All right, I'm going to step away from the mic just momentarily. I need to check something on the other screen, so I'll be back in just a moment. come back. We've got the 8th frame. It looks like Ella picked up 8, and looks like the 4-8 maybe down there. She takes aim on her spare and picks it up. Jalen up for Napoleon. Gets 9, leaves the 10 pin. Jalen with her spare attempt. Picks it up. I'll bring up Spencer Schweiger in the number 5 spot. Working on the spare in the 9th frame. Baker game number 3. And she gets a strike. Spencer a little light on her second ball. Ends up leaving a 1-2-4-8. Spencer gets 3. Napoleon finishes the 3rd Baker game with a 192. Perrysburg picks up their spare over on lane number 4. Anthony Wayne can't convert on lane number 3. They'll finish the Baker game with a 104. Springfield currently coming into the 10th frame. They're a little light. They get 7. They leave the 1, 8, 9. Perrysburg got 9 on her first ball in the 10th. Looks like Liberty Center A squad, if I'm reading this correctly, I think they've got a 117 in the 3rd Baker. They're just starting the 4th Baker. Perrysburg finishes with a 115. And Springfield finishes with a 95. So they'll switch lanes and start the fourth Baker game. Again, once I get some scores coming in, I'll update the totals in the corners. Heather starts Napoleon out with a 9 count. Looks like she left the 4 pin. Heather picks up her spare. Next up for Napoleon, Abby Detmer. Springfield hits a little heavy, leaves the 5 pin. Liberty Center picks up their spare over on lane number 5 in the 5th frame for them. Abby gets luck and gets 9, leaving the 6 pin. That could have been much worse. Springfield picks up their spare over on lane 9. Abby with her spare attempt on lane 10. And she gets it. Ella got 8 on her first ball, but she left the split. Looks like the 4-9 maybe. She picks up 1. Springfield gets 8, leaving the 1-5. Jalen up for Napoleon with a strike. That'll bring up Spencer. Spencer's first ball underway. Strike for Spencer. Anthony Wayne picks up their spare in the 4th frame. Oh, Liberty Center just misses their spare attempt on lane number 5 in the 8th frame. A strike for Anthony Wayne. Heather with an 8 count. She leaves, looks like the same spare that Ella had. The 4, nope, this is the 4-5, I'm sorry. Different spare. She'll have to go right between them to get the spare. And she gets 1. Springfield can't convert their spare over on lane number 5. That brings Abby up for Napoleon again. Abby gets 9, leaves the 10 pin. Abby's spare attempt underway, picks it up. Ella with a strike. Jalen Rupel got 9 on her first ball, left the 10 pin, picks it up. Just as a reminder, the format, this is a 10-game Baker format. Top 4 teams, total pins, will advance to the next round. They will reset the scores, bowl 2 more Baker games. The total pins of those, top 2 of those 4 scores, will advance to the final for a best 2 out of 3 head-to-head match, where if you get the most, instead of total pins, it'll be based on if you win the Baker, you get a point. And first one to win, best 2 out of 3 will win the championship. Spencer with a 9 spare to start the 10th. And a strike for Springfield on lane number 9. And also a strike for the Liberty Center A squad over on lane number 6. Looks like Liberty Center A squad finished the Baker game with a 158. Napoleon finishes their Baker game with a 179. Spencer picked up 8 on her last ball. Anthony Wayne with 2 strikes in the 10th over on lane number 4. Perrysburg, 9 count, left the 6 on lane number 3. Anthony Wayne finishes the Baker match with a 135. A spare for Perrysburg over on lane number 3. Springfield, final ball. Gets 8 for a total of 135. So I believe we're starting the 6th Baker match right now. Again, I'm trying to get some scores here, especially from the boys' matches. Heather starts out with an 8 count, leaves the 5-8. There's that. Actually, that might be the 1-2. Sorry. Looks like the 1-2. Heather picks up 1. That'll bring up Abby Detmer. Abby with a strike on lane number 9. That will bring up Ella. Ella Fox with her ball underway. Little light, leaves the 1-2-4-7. Springfield able to convert their spare after the ball slipped off her hand in the first ball. Ella's spare attempt underway. And she gets it. That'll bring up Jalen for Napoleon, lane number 9. And that's a strike for Jalen. Spencer up after Jalen's strike. She's a little light, ends up leaving the 1-2-4. Spencer picks up the spare. And Springfield with a nice spare picks up the 5-7. Heather with a strike. That's in the 6th frame. Lane number 9. Nine count for Perrysburg over on lane number 4. And Abby Detmer with another strike. Ella, ball underway. Gets 8. This time she leaves the 5-10. Ella with a tricky spare here. She's got to hit on the left side of the 5 and drive it back into the 10. She picks up 1. Jay up next with a strike. That was Jalen Rupel. All right, Spencer with 7, leaving the 1-5-8, it looks like. So we're still working on calculating some scores, but Wauseon had a 161, a 156, a 133, and a 205 in their first 4 Baker games. Liberty Center, I'm not sure if this is the A squad or the B squad. I think it's the A. Was 106, 129, 117, and 158. Napoleon with games of 190, 238, 192, and 179. Springfield with totals of 127, 115, 95, and 135. Perrysburg with scores of 152, 109, 115, and 115. Anthony Wayne scores of 78, 148, 104, and 135. And Liberty Center's B squad 135, 135, 91, 117, and 133. Over on the boys' side, we've got Evergreen with scores of 168, 201, 235, and 141. For Liberty Center, scores of 159, 192, 205, and 237. Wauseon, 196, 157, 144, and 162. Napoleon, games of 148, 212, 184, and 191. Anthony Wayne, 202, 158, 111, and 168. Perrysburg boys, 146, 148, 206, and 176. And Perrysburg JV team, 118, 120, 168, and 134. And then Springfield, 160, 192, 208, and 100. And it looks like Napoleon's girls finished with a 173 in their last Baker game. I believe that was Baker game number 6 for them. Anthony Wayne looks like they finished with a 115. I believe the score that we're looking for Liberty Center is I believe it's the 136. And Springfield finished with a 135. All right, looks like Heather started out the girls with 8 spare, and Abby just added a strike over on lane number 10. Coming in at the number 3 spot is Carly Hohenbrink. And Carly hits a little bit heavy. Gets some late pinfall. Looks like she gets 9, leaving just the 7 pin. Carly, spare attempt underway. And she picks it up. We're having just a little bit of trouble with this scoring worksheet. We've got the raw scores, but it's not totaling anything up, and putting them into places. So Jalen up with a strike on lane number 10. Once we get that resolved and we get the totals, I will report those to you. But until then, I'm just trying to give you the totals as I see them on the screen. Spencer with a strike in the 5th frame. Brings Heather back up on lane number 10, but waiting for Springfield to bowl their spare. And she gets all but 1. Heather gets 9, leaves the 10 pin. Springfield with a strike on lane number 9. Perrysburg picks up their spare over on lane number 3. Heather gets her spare for Napoleon. A nice strike from Liberty Center on lane number 5. That's their 5th frame. Abby Detmer up for Napoleon. And she gets a strike. Good ball. up for Napoleon. She gets a strike. Good ball from Carly. Liberty Center picks up their spare over on lane number 5. And a strike from Jalen over on lane number 10 for Napoleon. And that's a strike from Liberty Center on lane number 5. Spencer Schweiger coming up. Tenth frame for Napoleon. She ends up getting 8, leaving the 5-7. Spencer, spare attempt underway, picks up 1. Napoleon finishes with a 215 in Baker game number 6. Liberty Center picks up 9 to start their 10th frame. They were just a little light on that one. They leave the 2-pin. Springfield with a strike on lane number 9 in the 9th frame. And Liberty Center picks up their spare. Liberty Center gets 9 into the last ball of their 10th frame and will finish with a 193. Perrysburg gets 9 to start 10th. Springfield finished with a 122 in the 6th Baker game. Anthony Wayne picks up 5 of their spare, leaving all but 1. Perrysburg can't convert their spare and will finish with a 137. Liberty Center starts out their 7th Baker game with a strike. Heather up for Napoleon, and she'll start Napoleon off with a strike. Liberty Center a little light, leave the 1-2-4-10. And Anthony Wayne will finish the 6th Baker game with a 97. Abby starts with a 9. She's left her 10 pin. She steps up for her spare. And she leaves it inside. Can't convert. That'll bring up Carly Hollenbrink next. Carly's ball underway. She leaves the 2-8. Carly picks up the spare. Nicely done. And a strike for Perrysburg over on lane 4 to start the next Baker game. Up in the number 4 spot is Spencer Schweiger. Spencer with a nice strike. Jalen Rupel up next. She gets the strike. That's back-to-back strikes for Napoleon. Liberty Center can't convert their spare over on lane 6. Heather up for Napoleon. She gets 9, leaves the 10 pin. And Heather picks up the 10 pin. They'll bring Abby back up. Springfield with a strike over on lane number 10. Abby ready to go now. Looked a little heavy, but it carried, and she gets a strike. Anthony Wayne just picked up a spare in their 4th frame. Liberty Center a spare in lane number 6 in their 8th frame. Carly got 5 on her first ball. Spare attempt underway. And she gets 2. Liberty Center with a strike on lane number 6. Spencer Schweiger with 9 leaves the 10 pin on lane number 9. Liberty Center's strike comes to start their 10th frame. And she gets us another strike. That's 2 strikes in the 10th for Liberty Center. Spencer picks up her spare on lane number 9. Jalen Rupel up, 10th frame. Napoleon girls. She'll start out with a split, leaving the 410, the 410. Was a little bit heavy on that one. Came in a little high in the head pin. Ideally, you want the ball to enter the pocket between the 1 and the 3 pin. A little closer to the 1. That allows the ball to roll through and drive the pins back and carry. She'll pick up 1. If the ball is to the right of that pocket, it's considered light. If it hits more to the left, towards the head pin, or even to the left side of the head pin, that's considered heavy. Looks like Liberty Center girls finished with a 178 in their last Baker. Springfield finished with a 99. Looks like Wauseon finished with a 172. right, so we got Heather McMahon up on lane number 10 now, starting the next Baker game. And she ends up getting 8, leaving a split to 6-7. So Abby gets 8 on her first ball, leaves the 6-10. I do have some scores here after the first 4 Bakers, so we're a little bit behind here. But for the girls, in first place is Napoleon with a total of 799. Behind them is Wauseon with 655. Liberty Center with 510. Perrysburg with 491. Liberty Center JV with 476. Anthony Wayne 465, and Springfield 472. On the boys' side, we got Liberty Center in number 1 after 4 games with a 793. Evergreen 745. Napoleon in third with 735. Perrysburg with 676. Springfield with 660. Wauseon 659. And Anthony Wayne 639. They're entering in some more scores right now, so we'll get you up to date as soon as I get those. Abby did make her spare. Carly starts out with a 6 and ends up picking up the spare. Nice spare. I believe this is the 8th Baker. Spencer Schweiger with a strike. It may be the 9th or maybe the 7th. I may have lost count. Springfield with a spare. That's their 4th frame. Jalen Rupel up for Napoleon. And she gets a strike. And a strike for Springfield. And lane number 9, that was the 5th frame for them. And it looks like Liberty Center's A squad is finished with a 164. The rest of the teams are about on the 5th frame because Liberty Center is bowling on a pair by themselves. They can bowl a little faster. Heather gets 9 on her first ball, leaves the 10 pin. She comes up for a spare attempt. Picks it up. Abby up with a strike. That's frame number 7 for Napoleon. That'll bring up Carly Hollenbrink. Carly gets 9, leaves the 10 pin. Carly up for a spare attempt. On its way. She loses out to the right. Spencer Schweiger up next for Napoleon. This is the 9th frame. She gets a strike. Jalen Ruppel adds another strike to start the 10th for Napoleon. Springfield picks up their spare on lane number 9 in the 8th frame. All right, an update on the girls' side of the house. After 6 Baker games, we have Napoleon in the lead with a total of 1187. Wauseon with 1033. Then Liberty Center with 839. Perrysburg with 790. Liberty Center's JV squad, 751, tied with Anthony Wayne with 751, and Springfield with 729. They're working on getting the scores entered. The next one you have should be after 8 Baker games. I believe they're getting ready to start the 9th Baker game right now. And it looks like Napoleon finished with a 190. I believe that's Baker game number 8 for them. As I said, Liberty Center, it looked like they had a 164 for their 8th Baker game. A strike for Perrysburg to start the 9th frame. And Liberty Center's JV team picks up a spare. And a strike for Wauseon to finish their, I believe, 8th Baker game with a 174. Perrysburg finishes the 8th Baker game, I believe, with a total of 81. I believe it's the 8th Baker game. And Anthony Wayne with a strike. Or, I'm sorry, a spare to start in the 9th. A spare in the 9th for Anthony Wayne. Meanwhile, Liberty Center girls, the A squad, just finishing up their, I believe it's their 9th Baker game. Heather McMahon with 9 to start the 9th Baker game for Napoleon. I believe it's the 9th Baker game. And she misses just inside. Abby Detmer leaving the 4-6 split. Abby able to pick up 1. That brings up Carly Hollenbrink. Carly with a good looking strike. Gets Napoleon back on track. Spencer Schweiger up next. Anthony Wayne looked like they finished with a 126 in the last Baker game. Spencer, ball underway, and that's a strike. Back-to-back strikes for Napoleon. Brings up Jalen Ruppel for Napoleon. Lane number 9. And she gets a strike. 3 in a row now for Napoleon. Heather up again for Napoleon. She gets a strike on that one. Makes the correction. And a nice spare for Springfield over on number 10, lane number 10. Abby, ball underway, and she's left with a 7-10 split. All right, we have an update for the girls. This is after 8 Baker games. Napoleon still in the lead with 15:45. Wauseon is in second with 1379. Liberty Center in third with 1181. Liberty Center's JV team is tied with Anthony Wayne, both with 979. Perrysburg at 959 and Springfield at 955. Remember, there will be a total of 10 Baker games, and the top 4 teams will advance to the next round. We're waiting on scores for the last of the boys team for the 8th Baker game, and as soon as I have those totals, I'll get them to you. So Carly with 9 on her first ball. Looks like the 4-pin maybe that she left. And she's able to convert. That'll bring up Spencer Schweiger. Looks like the Liberty Center girls finished the 9th Baker game with 149. Spencer hits heavy, ends up leaving that 7-10 split again, just like Abby before her. About all you can do here is just take one and move on. And that's what she does. She takes out the 7-pin. And Jaylyn starts out the 10th frame with a strike. Jaylyn's second ball, 10th frame. Gets 8, ends up leaving the 4-7. Jaylyn up to close out the 10th frame. I believe this is the 9th Baker game. Ends up getting 1, and they'll finish. Napoleon will finish with a 180 in the 9th Baker game. All right, I have updates to the scores for the boys. After 8 Baker games, we have Napoleon in the lead with 1576. Liberty Center is number 2 with 1445. 1 pin behind is Springfield with 1444. And Evergreen rounds out the top 4 with 1374. Rounding out the field are Perrysburg with 13:20. Wauseon with 12:78. And Anthony Wayne with 12:39. And it looks like the Liberty Center girls finish up their 10th Baker game with a 2:10. Okay, up first for Napoleon. I believe this is a 10th and final Baker game. Heather starts out with a 9, leaves the 10 pin. Heather picks it up. All right, we have one addition here. We have the Perrysburg JV team, which is currently in last place with a total of 1145. That's after 8 Baker games on the boys' side. Carly got an 8 count on her first ball, leaving a split. Looks like the 4-5. Before her, I believe it was Abby. Ended up with an 8 spare. Carly with a nice spare right between the two of them. And it looks like Perrysburg finished the 9th Baker game with a 119, and Anthony Wayne with a 95. Jalen Rupel gets unlucky. It's a little heavy, ends up leaving the 4-6-7 split. We have back-to-back strikes for Napoleon, with the last one coming from Heather McMahon. At the conclusion of this Baker match, we'll update everybody on the scores for both the boys and the girls matches. And then we'll be taking a short break for lunch. And the streams will be going down. Actually, the boys' stream will be going down. I'll leave the girls' stream up and running without any sound. And then if you want to check back when we get started back up, check the girls' stream first. And then you'll be able to switch over to the boys' stream. Carly with 9, leaving the 3-pin. We need to take the boys' stream down just to conserve battery power. So for those of you that have been switching back and forth between the two live streams, the girls and the boys, let me know how that's working out with 2 streams. Carly picks up her spare. Brings up Jalen Rupel in the number 4 spot. She hits a little bit heavy, ends up leaving the 6-8-10. The 6-8-10. Either got to cut the 6 really thin back into the 8, or get some luck and bounce the pins off the sidewall. Picks up 1. She was trying to slide the 6 into the 8. Spencer Schweiger up in the number 5 spot. She'll start out with a strike. Spencer, second ball. And another strike for Spencer. Last ball for Napoleon, girls. And Spencer finishes with 9, leaves the 4-pin. That gives them a final Baker score of 194. At least if I've been counting Baker games correctly. I believe that's their final Baker game. As we get finished here and the scores come in, we'll update everybody on the top 4 for both the boys and the girls, and then we'll be taking a short break for lunch. We'll leave this stream, the girls' stream, up and running with the sound turned off. The boys' stream will take down just to conserve battery life. And then once we get started with the placement rounds, then we'll bring both streams back up until the conclusion of the match, or until the conclusion of the tournament today. So I'm not sure which score is Wauseon's and which one's the Liberty Center score, but one has 141, and I believe that's Wauseon, and 145 for Liberty Center JV girls. And we've got Perrysburg and Anthony Wayne yet to bowl. Springfield finished with a total of 89. Perrysburg with a strike in frame number 8. And a strike for Perrysburg to start the ninth, or in the ninth. That's back-to-back strikes for Perrysburg. And Anthony Wayne will finish with a 106. In their final Baker game. Perrysburg starting the 10th gets 6, leaves the 1-3, 6-10. And she picks up 3, and then Perrysburg will finish with a 151. All right, so after 10 Baker games, we have Napoleon girls in the lead with a total of 19-19. Wauseon is in second place with a total of 1674. Liberty Center is Perrysburg is in third with 1229. Then Liberty Center with 1181. Those are your top four. Rounding out the field are Springfield with a total of 1181. Liberty Center's JV squad, 1177, Springfield. Liberty Center JV, 979, and Anthony Wayne, 979. So your top four for the girls again are Napoleon, Wauseon, Perrysburg, and the Liberty Center A squad. As soon as I get an update for the boys, it looks like we've got one team looking to finish up. And it looks like he's just about to bowl the last ball in the 10th frame. So as soon as we get those scores entered, we'll report those, and then we'll take a short break for lunch. All right, and the totals for the boys division after 10 Bakers, we have Napoleon in first with 1958. Springfield is second with 1805. Liberty Center is third with 1793. Evergreen rounds out the top four, moving on with a total of 1,700 pins. The next four are Perrysburg with 1640, Wauseon with 1607, Anthony Wayne with 1565, and Perrysburg JV with 1429. So again, your top four moving on to the next round in the boys division are Napoleon, Springfield, Liberty Center, and Evergreen. So we'll be taking a short break here, probably about a half an hour. So it's about 10 till 1 right now. So probably about 1:15, 1:30. Check back to this channel, the girls channel. And then we'll be bringing both streams, both the boys and the girls, back online. We are back after the short lunch break. Just to recap the scores, we did have a roll-off for the final spot on the girls between Liberty Center's JV team and Anthony Wayne, and which Anthony Wayne did win that roll-off. So our final 4 teams for the girls are Napoleon, Wauseon, Liberty Center, and Anthony Wayne. Over on the boys' side, we still have Napoleon, Springfield, Liberty Center, and Evergreen. Right now, they are bowling some warm-ups. They get 2 balls on each lane for each player. And then we'll get underway, and it'll be the format will be as follows. Each team will bowl 2 Baker games. Total pins of those Baker games will take the top 2 teams. And then those 2 teams will face off in a head-to-head best 2 out of 3. So we have Napoleon and Anthony Wayne over on the 1-2 pair. Those are the ones that are on camera right now. And we'll be switching back and forth to the Wauseon and Liberty Center. We'll probably stay on Napoleon for most of the match, but we may switch over just to see what the other 2 teams are doing. And then the boys live stream is currently up and running. And we have Evergreen and Napoleon on one pair, and Springfield and Evergreen down on the other pair. Once we get ready to get underway, I'll come back and we'll announce the match. right, warm-ups should just about be done. Looks like the coaches are conferring with their teams right now. Looks like Wauseon's got just another ball or two maybe here. I see the arrows are up over on lanes 1 and 2 for Napoleon and Anthony Wayne. And it looks like Heather McMahon's going to start us out here. Heather rolls her first ball. And she starts out with a strike. Springfield starts out with 9, leading the 5-pin. Abby gets 7, leaving the 6-7-10. She'll just try for the 6-10, take 2 and move on. Springfield is able to, or I'm sorry, Anthony Wayne is able to pick up their spare. I'll have to apologize. Napoleon's been bowling with Springfield in the first 10, so I'm used to saying Napoleon and Springfield. And Abby picks up 2 of the 10, or 2 of the 3. Anthony Wayne with 6, leaving the 1-2-4-5. That'll bring up Ella Fox for Napoleon. Ella's first ball is underway. And she gets unlucky and gets a split, a 7-10. These are fresh pairs, so teams are going to have to adjust to that. Springfield can't pick up their spare. Ella looking to get at least one of these. Looks like she's going after the 7 and can't convert. Jalen with the spare. And a strike for Anthony Wayne in frame number 4. Spencer up for Napoleon. And she gets a strike. Just as a recap for those of you coming back, we've got the top 4 teams for the girls: Napoleon, Anthony Wayne, Wauseon, and Liberty Center. They'll be bowling 2 games, 2 Baker games. And total pins, the top 2 teams move on. Heather gets 6 on her first ball, leaving the 3-6-7-10. Over on the boys' side, we've got Napoleon, Evergreen, Liberty Center, and Springfield. Same format. The scores from the previous round are reset back to 0. So Heather is able to pick up her spare. So the top 2 teams will advance to the finals. The final will consist of the best 2 out of 3 Baker match, where the teams will be bowling head-to-head against each other. Abby up. And she gets 9, leaves the 6 pin. A little heavy on that one. Springfield is able to pick up their spare. Very nicely done. I'm sorry, Anthony Wayne. I keep saying Springfield. Anthony Wayne. Abby not able to convert her spare. Ella up for Napoleon. And she ends up with a strike. Yep, she crossed over the head pin, got the Brooklyn, but it still counts. Jalen Rupel up next. And she gets the late pinfall for a strike. Looked like the 4 pin was going to stand up, but 7 came over and tapped it down. That brings up Spencer Schweiger in the 10th frame, first Baker game. And she's a little heavy, ends up leaving the 3-6-10. And Spencer finishes with a 7 spare strike for a total of 171. Just as a reminder, if you're trying to watch the boys match, there is a new stream for the boys match. So make sure you click on part 2 for the boys, because that's running off of a camera with a battery. We ended up shutting that camera down and had to create a new stream. So Anthony Wayne with 9 in the 10th frame, looking to convert her spare. Can't do it. And they finish with an 88. We'll switch over to Wauseon Liberty Center, lane 7 and 8, while Anthony Wayne and Napoleon get ready to switch lanes. Oh, they've switched, so we'll go back. So here's Heather up to start the second Baker game. And Heather starts with 9, leaving the 4-pin. Springfield can't convert their spare. I'm sorry, Anthony Wayne. Keep doing that. Anthony Wayne. Heather's able to pick up her spare. Abby Detmer up next for Napoleon. And she gets a split, 4-7-10. Abby can't convert. That brings up Ella, number 3 spot. She gets 8, leaves the 6-10. Wauseon finishes the first Baker game with a 178. And Liberty Center finishes with a 152. Ella with her spare attempt. Picks it up. Springfield, a little heavy. Can't convert her spare. Gets 8. Brings up Jalen Rupel. Jalen gets 9, leaves the 4-pin. So after one Baker game, it's Wauseon 178 and Napoleon 171, Liberty Center 152. And I think Anthony Wayne, if I remember correctly, had 88. Remember, the top 2 will advance to the finals. And Jalen picks up her spare. That'll bring up Spencer. And Spencer with the strike in the 5th frame. Anthony Wayne gets 9 over on lane number 1. Heather up for Napoleon. And she can't get the 10-pin to fall. That's 9 for her. Anthony Wayne brushes the 7-pin but can't get it to fall down. Heather, spare attempt. Picks it up. Abby up. Working on the spare from Heather's frame. And that's a strike for Abby. She makes the adjustment. That brings up Ella. Anthony Wayne is able to pick up the spare. That's their 6th frame. Ella in the 8th, second Baker game. And she gets the strike. That's back-to-back strikes for Napoleon. Jalen Rupel up, 9th frame. 10 pin, gets 9. Anthony Wayne picks up their spare in the 7th frame. Or, I'm sorry, that was the 9th frame for them. And Jalen picks up her spare. That's the 9th frame for Napoleon. That'll bring up Spencer in the 10th frame. Anthony Wayne gets 9, leaving the 6 pin. Spencer's ball on the way, and she gets the strike. Anthony Wayne, spare attempt, 10th frame. And she picks it up. Spencer comes up for her second ball. And another strike for Spencer. Spencer, final ball. Anthony Wayne picks up 5 on their final to finish with a 114. And Spencer gets 9. They'll finish with a 201. Switching to the Liberty Center Wauseon match. Wauseon with a strike to start the 7th frame. Liberty Center got 7 on her first ball. Looking to pick up the spare here. And she's outside. Can't convert. Wauseon, 8th frame. And she gets a strike. That's back-to-back strikes for Wauseon. And that's 5 for Liberty Center. They leave the 1, 2, 5, 8, 9. Wauseon, a little heavy, ends up splitting, ends up leaving the 4, 6, 7, 9, 10. That's not an easy spare to convert. Liberty Center does convert their spare. Wauseon, that one looked like it came up out of the gutter. Liberty Center gets 9. Looks like they leave the 7 pin. Spare attempt, Liberty Center. She picks it up. Nice ball. Wauseon's 10th frame. And they start it with a strike. Liberty Center, 9th frame. Little light, ends up leaving the 210. Wauseon, second ball, 10th frame. And she's a little light on that one, ends up leaving the 1, 2, 4, 6, 10. And Liberty Center picks up her spare in the 9th frame. That's a nice spare. Liberty Center gets ready to bowl her 10th frame. She starts out with a 9, leaves the 10 pin. And Wauseon's final ball. She gets 3. That gives them a total of 171. Liberty Center gets ready to bowl her spare. Looks good. If she can strike here, she can max out with 135 for her team. And she gets 9, so Liberty Center will finish with a total of 134. So over on the boys' side, it looks like Napoleon and Springfield have advanced to the championship round. And for the girls, it looks like Napoleon and Wauseon. We'll get official confirmation here shortly.
The championship match for the girls. For the ladies will be Napoleon and Wauseon on lane 7 and 8. Napoleon is the higher seed and will choose their starting lane. And then the boys match, Springfield is the higher seed. They get to choose their starting lane.
So we confirmed it's Napoleon versus Wauseon for the girls, and Napoleon versus Springfield for the boys. So while the teams get ready, the girls will be moving over to 7 and 8. That's the one that's on camera now. And the boys match will be live streamed on the boys live stream. So go to the Wildcat Varsity Bowling if you want to see the boys and look for part 2. It's the one that's currently being live streamed. All right, so there's no warm-up. The teams will be going right into this. Wauseon might have a slight advantage in the fact that they have bowled on this pair, but Napoleon has been bowling extremely tough the entire match, so should be a good final. Napoleon chooses to start out on the right lane, lane number 8. Okay, Napoleon, Heather McMahon will start things out for the girls. On its way, can't get the 7-pin to fall. Gets 9. Wauseon up next, their first bowler. She's a little light. Ends up leaving the 1-2-7-9. Heather, spare attempt underway. Covers it. That'll bring up Abby Detmer next for Napoleon. The cheers on the other side of the house you hear are Napoleon has started out with 5 straight strikes to start the first Baker match. Wauseon can't convert her spare. Abby Detmer, frame number 2. Looks like a good ball and a strike. Wauseon, another ball, slightly light. Ends up leaving a 1-2-8-10. Ella Fox up for Napoleon, frame number 3. Hits a little high, but it crosses over Brooklyn and strikes for Ella. That's 2 in a row. Wauseon picks up 3 of the 4. Jalen Rupel, number 4 slot, and she gets a strike. That's 3 in a row. Wauseon gets 9, leaves the 4-pin. Brings up Spencer Schweiger, number 5 bowler. And Spencer with a strike. Four in a row for Napoleon. Clean through the first half. Wauseon spare attempt. And they cover it nicely. Heather McMahon. And she gets 7. Leaves the 2-4-5. Wauseon can't get the 7-pin to go down. Gets 9. Heather gets her spare ball. Spare attempt underway. And she covers it nicely. Wauseon can't pick up the spare. Abby Detmer up next for Napoleon. Little light, she gets 6, leaving the 2-4-5-8. And a strike for Wauseon in the 5th. Wauseon, 6th frame. All but the 10 pin. That's 9 for her. Abby, spare attempt. And she picks it up. Nicely done. Wauseon up for their spare attempt. Just as a reminder, this is best 2 out of 3. So it doesn't matter how many pins you win by, it still only counts as a single win. And Wauseon misses her spare just inside. Brings up Ella for Napoleon. That one gets a strike. Looked like it was going to come up light, but at the last minute, rolled over. Wauseon with the strike in the 7th frame for them. Spencer gets 8. Or no, I'm sorry, that's Jaylin. Jaylin gets 8. She leaves the 4-8. Wauseon trying to build on that strike from last frame. And 9. Can't get the 10 pin to go down. Jaylin up next. And she chops and gets just the 1. She gets the 4. And Wauseon hangs on just to get the 10 before the ball drops in the gutter. Spencer up, number 5 slot, 10th frame, gets 9. Wauseon with 9 leaves the 7 pin. Spencer coming up for her spare attempt. Oh, she misses it inside. So Napoleon finishes the first Baker match in the championship round with a 200. Best possible score that Wauseon can put up is a 161, so the first point will go to Napoleon. Wauseon's final bowler coming off the spare from last frame. She starts out the 10th with a strike. Wauseon's second ball on attempt. Another strike. Final ball of the first Baker game. Wauseon. And she finishes with a 161. 3 strikes in a row. So the girls will switch sides. And then they'll bowl one more. If Napoleon wins the next game, then they'll take the best 2 out of 3. If Wauseon wins, then it will go to a tiebreaker. Or I should say it goes to a third Baker. Wauseon a little light on her first attempt, leaves the 1-2-4. Abby Detmer getting Napoleon started. And she starts out Napoleon with a strike. Wauseon, spare attempt. And a nice spare. She gets it. This is Carly Hohenbrink for Napoleon. Coming up in the number 2 spot. And she comes off the bench with a strike for Napoleon. Back-to-back strikes. Wauseon with a strike of their own in the second frame. Ella Fox coming up for Napoleon. A little bit light. Ends up leaving the 1-2-4, 8-10. She gets 5. Wauseon a little light. Ends up leaving the 2-4-5. Ella needs to keep this ball to the left of the 2-pin in order to try to kick that over into the 10, but she picks up 4 of them. Wauseon, spare attempt. And they'll pick that up. Jalen Rupel up next. She gets the strike. Wauseon up, 4th frame. And she's left with 8, even though the scoring shows 9. It moved the 5-pin. So she'll be left with a 5-7. Spencer Schweiger with a strike. That'll bring up Abby Detmer after Wauseon. Wauseon spare attempt. And a nice cover. That's a tough spare. Abby, all but 1, can't get the 7 to go down. Wauseon's number 5 bowler with a strike. Abby's spare attempt. And she covers. A little heavy for Wauseon. They leave the 6-pin. Carly up next for Napoleon. She comes up with another strike. Wauseon can't cover their spare. That's an open for Wauseon in the 6th frame. Ella Fox coming up for Napoleon in the 7th frame. Oh, I'm sorry, 8th frame. Ella, ball underway. She ends up leaving the 10-pin. Wauseon is in the 7th frame, trying to convert. And she leaves it inside, can't convert. Ella trying to pick up her 10-pin here. And she covers it nicely. Good spare, Ella. Wauseon starts the 8th frame. And they'll get 9. Again, stubborn 10-pin. Jalen, a little heavy, ends up leaving the 3-6. Still a close match. Wauseon gets their spare. And Jalen, it comes back. It looked like it was going to hang out there wide, but it came back at the last minute. Picks up the spare. Wauseon with a strike to start the 9th frame. That'll bring up Spencer Schweiger in the 10th frame. And she gets a strike. And Wauseon with a strike, trying to keep pace. Spencer, second ball, gets 9, leaves the 8-pin. And Wauseon with a strike. And if my calculations are correct, I think Napoleon's won the second match, or second Baker game. Because that'll be a 200 for Napoleon. And the best Wauseon can get with a strike would be a 195. And they get 9, so they'll finish with a 194. So Napoleon wins 200 to 194 in the second Baker game. So Napoleon girls defeat Wauseon girls 2-0. Meanwhile, we've still got the boys match going on. So Napoleon and Springfield are tied 1-1 right now, and they're about midway through the third Baker game. All right, to see the conclusion of the boys match and the award ceremony, switch over to our other live stream channel, or our other live stream, the boys part 2. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. Just as a recap, Napoleon girls are victorious in the second annual Baker Bash, beating the Wauseon Indians 2-0 in the final Baker match. Thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you later.